Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jankyard. I'm Isaac.
I'm Logan.
And together we make not a complete word. There's no real...
Nothing
good-
describes us.
Right, other than the Jankyard. Misfit.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good word. I like that word.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us today. We've got an exciting video for you. This is our first Duskmorn video talking about brand new cards from Duskmorn. We're really excited about it. We talked about this one in our top 10 jank that we're excited for from Duskmorn. If you haven't already watched that video, go ahead and check it out. But this was on that list. The card in question is the Jolly Balloon Man. We got a comment from a guy called Dad. Shout out to you, Dad. And they said that they made a combo deck with Jolly Balloon Man that's weirdly consistent and it kills on turn 3 or 4. I'll talk about the deck here in a second, but I want to explain the combo that he uses. To start off with, you need 3 cards on the battlefield. You need a Mana Dork, you need the Jolly Balloon Man, or a Fable Mirror Breaker flipped, and you need a Combat Celebrant. The combo is you tap down the Mana Dork, tap down Jolly Balloon Man to activate the ability on Combat Celebrant. Swing with a Combat Celebrant, exerting it, giving you an additional combat step and an additional main phase, and untapping all of your stuff. So you now have an untapped Mana Dork, an untapped Balloon Man, and now you can keep repeating main phases, keep repeating combat steps, eventually having enough things on the board that have gained you additional combat steps where you're chipping away at the opponent with 1 damage at a time.
It is infinite combat steps with flying creatures. It is
Yes.
infinite lethal.
Yeah, infinite lethal. The original list he made is a little interesting. I really do enjoy the list. There are a few changes that I like to make to it, so I'm just going to start with his list first off. He starts with 4 copies of Elvish Mystic, 4 copies of Sylvan Caryatid, 4 copies of Tangled Florahedron. He quotes, "This should probably be a Lawnmower Elf, but I'm super greedy on the land count." I don't blame you, man. We're all kind of greedy. He's got 4 copies of Jolly Balloon Man. Combo piece, essential, and the 4 copies of Combat Celebrant. Combat Celebrant is really the only sort of thing that does what you need it to do in the deck, so playing all 4 of them is necessary. In fact, everything in this deck is 4 ofs. It is 4 copies of Fable of the Mirror Breaker. When it flips, it's just another copy that you can do on your Combat Celebrants, so it's another way out. He's got 4 Adventurous Impulse to set up the creatures and lands and whatever you need on the top. 4 Court of Callings to go find the things that he needs. 4 Finale of Devastations to go find the things that you need. And 4 Heroic Interventions for a little bit of interaction. Ways to protect your stuff.
Tutoring for these creatures is important because you have to tutor for the Combat Celebrant because it is the only card in the deck that does what it does. And it's the only card in Magic, in Pioneer, that does what it does. So he has to play some sort of tutor because you can pretty much find Jolly Blue Man or Fable pretty consistently, but finding the Combat Celebrant is a lot harder. So he's running the impulses, he's running the tutors in order to do that.
I looked around for other things that are sort of like a Combat Celebrant or sort of have a combo with the Jolly Balloon Man. I couldn't find anything. If you find something, please let us know in the comments. I'd be more than excited to hear about it. Going to now my list, I've adjusted your list just a little bit. We're going to start off with the same things that you ran. 4 copies of Elvish Mystic and 4 copies of Sylvan Caryatid. I really like that. We're also going to, instead of the Tangled Florahedrons, because of the land count, we're going to do 3 copies of Paradise Druid. I really like Paradise Druid just because it has that guaranteed hexproof. It doesn't have a way to get removed really well in Pioneer. I'm also only playing 3 of because I'm doing a 1 extra land count on top of the land. So I play 21 lands total. Moving over, we play 4 copies of Fable of the Mirror Breaker, 4 copies of Jolly Balloon Man. There's not really much you can add in there. There's Saheeli from Lost Caverns of Exelon, but it requires 2 mana. That's colored. It doesn't really work.
And that's a
too
4th color. You just don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. We're not trying to go
even
that
with
far.
Paradise Druid.
Yeah, we're keeping the 4 copies of Combat Celebrant because you need it, and we're keeping the 4 copies of Heroic Intervention. I really do enjoy that. Now on to the tutoring and the setup of your hand. I want to go back and remind myself and the viewers. It was 4 Adventurous Impulse, 4 Court of Callings, 4 Finale of Devastations. I play 4 Court of Callings. I agree with you, getting some Convoke triggers and getting the Convoke off of it, and then going to fetch what you need is a very, very solid piece. I, instead of playing the Finale of Devastations, because it's going to cost you a lot of mana to go find that stuff.
And a lot of money.
Yeah, it's especially a lot of money. I play 4 collected companies. Coco picks up everything you need.
The downside is it only looks at the top 6 cards, but that's it. You're probably going to hit something that you're going to need, but the downside is, it only looks at the top 6. That being said, it's also an instant speed. It's also only 4 mana as opposed to Court of Calling, which needs to be 6 mana.
And then the last one, your deck played 4 Adventurous Impulse, which looks at the top 3 and gets you lands or creatures. My deck plays 4 copies of Commune with Nature. It is the top 5 cards, and it's only creatures. I think there's enough lands in this deck and enough mana dorks so you can get the mana that you need to, but you need to keep digging for those creatures, keep digging for those combat celebrants, keep digging for those Jolly Balloon Mans. So I think playing Commune with Nature to look at an extra 2 cards and pick off a creature is a really good investment. Obviously, we're in 3 colors. We're going to play some Mana Confluence. We're going to play our Shock lands. We're going to play our Check lands, whatever we need to play. We also are going to play 2 copies of Lair of the Hydra. In a pinch, if you X for 1 Lair of the Hydra, it becomes another mana dork for you because it's a creature that can still tap for a mana because it's a land, which means it untaps via combat celebrant. So in a pinch, if they keep removing your mana dorks, I don't know why they would, but if they do, you can use that to become your mana dork to get your combo going. That's really the whole list. It's a pretty short, pretty simple list. I am very open to seeing a lot of criticism with this list. I'm very curious to see what other people are saying because, again, Duskmourn just came out. When I was looking at this list, I was like, man, what other list is very low to the ground and uses 3 colors? And I just thought about it for 2 seconds and went, hold on, Amalia did this. Hey! That's where I got some of the inspiration for the lands. That's where I got the inspiration for Coco, was from Amalia, because they play 4 Cocos as well. This list does draw a lot of similarities to the Amalia lists that were before the bannings in Pioneer. Another last thing I'll note with the list is if you can find another mana rock in red or white, you can get this list to be in Boros exclusively.
Okay, so that actually leads me. I made my own list for Jolly Balloon Man and Combat Celebrant, and I made it without knowing about this guy's comment because I was making the short for it that we made. Mm-hmm. And I was just reading for cards that were good with Jolly Balloon Man, and I came across Combat Celebrant. And I was like, hold on, is that infinite? And I tried to look at things for that, but I never even considered green. I just was like, I'm going to stay in Boros as much as I could. The only things I could find were Beamtown Beatstick and Diamond Pickaxe, which both give you the first one on combat damage to a player and the second one off of attacking, give you a treasure token when the equipped creature attacks. You would go to your first main phase, copy the Combat Celebrant, and then equip either of those 2 equipments onto the copy, swing, exert the original Combat Celebrant, untap everything, and then use the treasure to copy the Combat Celebrant again, and then swing and exert the second copy, and then you have infinite combats.
That doesn't have the equipment on.
Correct. Then you have infinite combats. But that's an equipment and takes really long to get to. You're in white, so you can technically maybe do some equipment kind of tutory things. Maybe there's some stuff up there. Maybe we'll throw some stuff up here. But that's probably less consistent than just playing green and just having a mana dork, and that's the mana you need, because Jolly Balloon Man doesn't need a mana of a particular color.
Yeah. Well, like I said with Lair of the Hydra is very hard to interact with until you animate it. This could sort of be the same thing. There's not a lot of artifact removal running around in sideboards right now. So if you really do want to cater the list towards an equipment list, I think that's not a completely viable option. It might be a little bit slower, it might be a little more inconsistent, but I'm sure there's definitely ways you can get to that point.
I can't wait for this guy. I want to build a deck around this man. I want to try all types of things with it. Originally, I also was just like, this is just a good tempo guy to have. I just like the effects that he can do. So, it just helps that he has an infinite combo.
Yeah, of course, definitely. No, we'll see about it. But like I said, I am very open to see what people are going to make with this guy. If you have any decks you're making, any suggestions at all, please let them drop them down in the comments.
I'm also just super personally curious about anything you guys do with this guy in Commander as well, because I love the idea of having Kiki Jiki in 2 colors, which can open up a lot of stuff there. So just all of your Balloon Man stuff, fill it fill our comments with it.
Fill our comments and balloon them up.
Our brain needs to be filled with your comments of just cool stuff that you're coming up with.
Just like the balloon man's filling up their brains with air. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate you. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube shorts. We're posting everything around there. We'll drop all those in the description below. You got anything?
Hi.
No, it's the other one.
Hello?
No, like at the very end of something when you're trying to like.
Oh.
You want to say it together on 3? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Bye.
Hi.
What? No.